Hello. And welcome to Let's Talk Comics, gang. YouTube was being a real B word, if I may be frank with you. Sorry for the language; it's a little salty this morning. I'm being me.
I've tried to talk to him about it,
and he can't keep it together.
I can't keep him down. So let's just dive right into it.
Okay, so I was trying to get the stream key to work. Oh,
Yes.
you want to talk about comics?
Yeah.
Oh,
let's
you
talk about
want to talk about
you want to talk
boring
about comics.
ass comics?
Let's coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, DC.
Ooh, to start with? Ooh,
Yeah.
that's fun. All right, so I'll be DC. I say Tails. I'm going to go find it. You
Let's
did.
say
This is
that's
your
Tails.
bit. I guess
Let's
we're
say
starting
that's
with
it.
DC
We're
then.
starting with DC.
I smell a rat. That's fine. Wendy S. Supermac, Danny M. Danny Boy. And I think I saw Caitlin in there. Thank you for joining us.
That should be a bit in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or I smell a rat. Like, oh, no, literally a rat in the office. Yeah, there's a rat running around. So, DC, we both read the big event Leviathan, which is weird to have an event comic called Event.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to remember.
It is easy to remember. But what other DC books? Did you read any other ones? This is a stupid question. How long? Wait. Before once Wednesday starts, how long until you've read all your new comics?
Wednesday.
By the end of Wednesday?
Yeah.
So from midnight to midnight, done.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I take my time.
Interesting. You're the guy who has to get kicked out of the IHOP, aren't you? I'm sorry, I'm enjoying it.
I'm just enjoying.
You can't sit in this booth for 6 hours. Well, you know what? We should be allowed to. Yes, I did read a lot. I don't know if you got to Wonder Twins yet. You're in for a treat.
I'm excited about it.
Also, I'll go through my roster. I did want to say I picked up Justice League Odyssey.
Have you been picking it up?
No,
Okay.
I stopped.
I also stopped
3 or maybe 2. Yeah, it was like, but then I picked it up and it actually got me.
Cool. No, that excites me because it's a cool team lineup.
And Dan Abnett, I'm a big fan of.
Yes.
So, because he usually does it. It's like he just kind of has like these solid like hitters. You know, he's not doing like a Wonder Twins or something like that. It's just he has solid stories. So I'm on board. That's been fun. I haven't caught up fully yet. Just started reading it. But for the rest of them, Batman and the Outsiders.
2? Issue 2 or first issue?
This is the second issue.
Gotcha.
And they got some. It's Ra's al Ghul's our main antagonist, and you have the team going up against this like just super powered person who's feeding off other metas. I just like that they cut straight through the bullshit, and it's a fun. There's a really interesting dynamic between Black Lightning and Batman, where he really respects Batman, and Brian Edward Hill, writes a really good Batman. And I just like a really good Bruce Wayne and a Batman. Overall, it's a very entertaining book. Wonder Twins, Return of Red Flag, and the Society of Annoyance, or the League of Annoyance, or whatever. Also, the Scrambler goes full villain in this.
Which makes sense because he actually...
But it's not a villain. It's not a villainous thing that he does.
Yeah, but like his powers are actually... His logo's a fried egg and his name's the Scrambler. But he's actually... got legit powers. He should be a real threat. No, don't tell me.
Okay.
Don't tell me.
I'll say that this does a really good, because the whole thing is like kind of like putting a mirror to society and being like talking about things we talk about today.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does it from a way that's not antagonistic. Really, it does it with a lighthearted kind of cartoonish flair to it, where there's fun to it, but you can also see that like when they talk about Druncula, where it's like he has a problem, and accidentally you kind of got him to fall off the wagon a little bit. So with this, it's taking the Scrambler's powers to like the millionth degree.
Nice.
Also, kind of coming to a conclusion like polymath and philomath. There's a kind of a natural progression. Also, I forgot that there was a villain they introduced who's just a white woman on a phone, and but the phone in this is Kryptonian. Whoa. She got it at a yard sale. Nice. She got it at a yard sale. What can I say? Superman, Rogol Zar kind of wrapping stuff up. There's a very cool interaction between Superman and Zod, which at first, it's like a weird thing happens. You're like, what was... This is another like Barry got red hair for a second kind of thing. It's like, no, it was on purpose. And they're teasing that they're going to get to an end with this Rogol Zar thing pretty soon. Every finger crossed.
Yeah.
Really hope so. But you do have a tease of Supergirl and John going off on adventures together, and that actually sounds pretty cool. But he does refer to Supergirl as Cuz, and I'm like, don't do that. Because that's confusing to me. I don't want to get lost. Flash Year 1, beginning of the Rogues, which is super cool. Barry runs to try to stop a bullet from hitting Iris, but he's still learning how to use his speed and accidentally takes a bullet to the chest. But even though he caught like 8 of them, he missed the one that was a little too low. Really good. And Hawkman is a story of...
How deep are we in Hawkman? How many issues?
13.
Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's him and his ship, the bird, because of course it does, go into a planet, and he has a big museum of his life because he's lived for past, present, future, everywhere in between. But there was a certain time loop he got stuck in a war that lasted for centuries on this planet, where he would reincarnate on either side, and he kept dying over and over again. And they were just fighting over food, and eventually he is the one that ends it, a version of him, and it's a very sweet
cool
story.
Take on the character.
It was really cool, man. And that's Robert Venditti. He does a really solid job. His stories, like there's some stinkers in there, but overall, again, like Dan Abnett, he really just kind of like does these solid runs. His Hal Gordon and Green Lantern Toward, he did a good job with them.
He did do a good job.
Not correcting myself.
Yeah,
I know what I meant.
So you want to dive into Event Leviathan?
No.
Okay.
Let's go to Marvel.
Okay, let's go to Marvel.
No, yeah, we dive into Brian Michael Bendis. He's back and he's better than ever.
Alex Maleev is on art, and
that's actually
so great.
That's just worth picking up the book just for that.
100%. I am hoping. I was a little lukewarm on this specific issue, and I think it's because this is an issue number 1, so they're trying to catch up the audience. So it's a lot of reiterating stuff we already know. I will say specific thing against this issue, it reiterates those things, and then another character shows up, and then they reiterate all the things, and it's like let's get to it.
I like the implication, or what would now confirmation actually, that those people in the explosions haven't died. They went somewhere else. The literal institution, the building's gone.
Yes,
but the people aren't. So they are utilizing them under one big banner. It looks like they're just cleaning house and maybe making one new spy organization, Shield, or something else. Man, Brian, he loves nuking big government organizations. Did it twice with Shield, in the Ultimate Universe and the main universe. Not that he wasn't the specific person behind it, but he was there.
He was in the meetings.
I like that Steve Trevor was specifically used a lot in this. And he also, the idea behind, he's like, why would anyone believe I was in a force field and everything else went off and I'm the only one left? Why would I be the only one that was left? And it's a good way to pin it. I didn't like that he was like, oh, maybe Lois is. Maybe we're all Leviathan. I'm like, I don't know what you're actually. I don't know what you're saying right now.
Yeah.
And also Lois pulling like a 4-chamber gun on Batman.
Yeah,
it's
a Kryptonian gun. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they mentioned that as a Kryptonian gun. Also.
Wait, what is that? But what did that mean?
I don't know. Also, I'm a little bummed that like, where's Superman? He's off-world. But
you set this up as his thing.
It's a Superman event. Like, and I know it's been. It just makes me feel like he should have stayed kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like all the Rogolzar stuff either happens before or after this.
Yeah, give it another year with that stuff.
Yeah, and then he got kidnapped in the one shot. And he should have just stayed kidnapped, and that's what's driving these people. A team, because I don't need him to be a part of the team. I like this team of detectives. I like the characters they're bringing in. We already have Green Arrow. I don't know if Steve Trevor's going to be a part of it, although it would be cool if he is. It'd be cool to see Lois Lane and Steve Trevor bounce off each other because they are traditionally, it's like they're the love interest of the two most powerful people on the planet, so they don't normally get a lot to do.
Also got the question in the background for a second. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I think we had somebody else. No, we didn't have Manhunter in this.
Yeah, not
this
yet.
Specific issue. And Plastic Man apparently plays a big role in this.
I'm down for that.
Based on the ads.
It'd be weird to have him as opposed to Elongated Man because Elongated Man's the detective, but I don't care.
We don't know where he's at right now. He was in the Detective Comics 1000.
Candid, I'm more of Plastic Man's more fun than Elongated Man.
Hey, in the Flash, he's actually pretty
on the show. Yes, 100%. But like, it's like Plastic Man's great. Plastic Man's insane. It's awesome.
But we got a tease at the end with the scientist that Steve Trevor was specifically interacting with.
Yeah.
Being sucked over to Leviathan to do experiments and
something.
And I liked the cadence of the man who's running Leviathan. Yes. I liked whatever he's about right now. And I'm trying to remember if there's any other teases for a Superman type. Let me pull up the issue. May I?
But may I pull
Man,
up
that
the issue?
cover is beautiful.
Yeah, and really the art. I will pick up this. It's 6 issues. I will pick up this entire event, even if the rest of the event's not that great. I will pick up this entire event just to see Alex Mealy draw these characters.
Like, it's such a big bummer. We both got a notification at the same time. It's such a big bummer that they blew up that building in Coast City because it actually looked really cool.
Yeah.
As a hub for somebody.
Also, how did people living in this universe not look at that building and be like, "Oh, that's a target"? That's going to get blown up, or villains are going to be taking over. I don't want that in my city.
Did you read Benjamin? You read Green Arrow.
Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Percy.
Oh, yeah.
And it was with the Ninth Circle, and there's that gigantic bank that they have out in the ocean.
Yeah,
Looks
yeah.
kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
Big circle. It's just a big circle is all it is.
That was a good run.
That was a good run. I didn't read it, but you liked it.
I did like it. Yeah.
Yeah, so let us know if you're reading. I'll dive into the DC Discord in just a second.
Cool.
But really quick,
read through the entire issue for.
Let's give a quick nod to the indie comics world. What did you read this week?
Oh, well, I read this week to blanking on Sonata, which was a new book. It's written by David Hine.
Fun to say.
I can't remember the artist. The cover was cool, and I try to I tend to pre-order these books a couple months out, and so I try to throw in a few indie books just to test the waters. Sometimes works out great. There's Gagor, which is awesome. I picked up the second issue of that this week, but I haven't read it yet. But this is not awesome. This is not a good comic. This does all of my pet peeves in fantasy, where it's just like first person exposition of this is the world, our world was dying, so we went to this world, and everything's got a weird name, and they always want to say the weird names, like the flybirds and the cat folk and the, oh my god, like what is this shit? Like
you ever get tired?
You just think with something like Game of Thrones that does a good job of organically like mixing that stuff in there, you know what I mean, where it feels real. Like you got some Neds in there, you know what I mean, it's not Tamar, and like you'll like
there's a John.
There's Johns, there's Neds. It's not like just crazy sci-fi Yee-Quay, something like that, you know what I mean, like what's happening?
I think that was a little knock on the Martian Manhunter series that Steve Orlando did.
What
with
the
cultural stuff
is that it went hard with that. Like it went way into it. It wasn't just like what if names are weird. It's like it.
No, he has a map of how
to
this
the
culture
point of
works.
impenetrability. That's the knock on it. But hey, at least you went for it.
He knows how the taxes work here. He knows how racism works. He
knows the whole shebang.
Kit and caboodle.
So don't pick up Sonata. I'm sorry to say, unless you really like, you just want fantasy stuff. This feels like you're just standard fantasy, whatever. I will say, if you are not picking up Ed Brubaker's Criminal, that's criminal. It's written by Ed Brubaker with art by Sean Phillips. No new issue this week, but I read last week's issue. So good, just so good, and it's a little treasure too, because in the back there's always an essay about like crime fiction, or this week he does a round table with some of his favorite crime fiction writers that are friends of his, like is it whatever. The author's last name is Starr. I was going to call him Joe Starr, but Joe Starr is somebody I know. Yeah. So that's not the person that it is. And so you it's cool to like see these really talented people talk about crime fiction and how it's grown and changed and all that stuff while getting a great crime story. And Ed Brubaker's got, he wrote on, what's the name? Nicholas Winding Refn has a new show coming to Amazon that he wrote. And I just saw a review that was like mixed, and Nicholas Winding Refn is hit or miss for me, like pretty hard. He either really hits or he really misses.
Yeah, I'm not.
But now, like having Ed Brubaker's written it, and I'm reading Criminal, it's like, damn it, I'm going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to watch the whole damn thing. But so Sonata's not great, but check out Criminal.
There you go. Now let's scooch our pooches over to Marvel, because we got a big one this week.
Yes.
That's escaped my brain, and I'll find it while I search for the
Silver Black. Yeah.
There's a lot of comics I read.
Yeah.
They all blend together in one big story in my brain. A lot of colors.
Yeah.
And this comic specifically, Wowie Zowie, Donny Cates, his opening, which was part of a preview that I read when it came to how Silver Surfer's like, oh yeah, everyone sees me as a hero, but it's like Galactus ate civilizations and the visualization. I love the eyes, the
Yeah.
accents, the
Tradd Moore
eyeshadow.
is really talented, and also he's very few artists are as good at movement as he is. Like there's a lot of ways that Silver Surfer using his board to fight could have been really boring. Not in this.
And it feels very, you can feel the weight of it, especially when he's fighting these cosmic creatures. I like the idea, like, okay, so here's your answer for Guardians of the Galaxy. They got yanked out, and that was me. But also, everyone else that got sucked in, for reasons we don't know, they didn't die immediately, but I was able to yank them out, but I had to sacrifice myself.
Yeah.
And I still like, even when he's weak, he's like, but I'm still the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
I'm crazy powerful.
Favorite image, weirdly, is when he remakes his board.
That was really cool because it just you could kind of feel the power in that. Fighting the 3 Heartless from Kingdom Hearts was a lot of fun. That was 100% what those were.
Yeah.
And I like their different fighting styles. You don't know why they're attacking, but there's something dark here that affected them. And immediately when you see like what the world looks like, you can see their faces and that there are these goddesses that kind of got trapped here too.
Yeah.
His visualization of his hand turning into whatever that is, amazing.
Yeah.
Really on board with this series.
Yeah,
I
same.
like on board.
So wait, now the ending will mean more to you than it did to me because you've been reading his Venom run.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just that it's Null, and
but isn't Null been on Earth?
No,
kicking Venom around?
It's not.
Okay.
He's been the one of the first like. All right, let's buckle up.
Donny Cates is really investing a lot in Null. It's like by the time he's done, Null's going to be up there with Galactus. He's dedicated to that,
which is pretty fun. He has been an interesting character so far. He's kind of like this. Basically, we find out in Venom is that Null was around the beginning of the universe, created nowhere because he cut off the head of that Celestial. Whatever.
Jeez.
And he's the one that did that. And he's a small god that got left over that was able to kind of use the darkness to kind of like morph it into things. So he makes the sword that you know from Jason Aaron's beginning run.
God
Killer sword, which is really fun. It's like a goopy substance that, whatever that Boar wears, I think. So it's a fun connective tissues he's using to kind of connect all of the cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
And on Earth, the thing that Venom fought was just an original weapon that Null sent here that he could put his essence into and shape and look like that. And it was a big dragon, which was really cool.
Donny Cates also is 100% building to his own event. He's like Marvel, because what I'm hearing is
absolute carnage.
Yeah, true. What I'm getting out of this is that this is probably going to lead. How many issues is Silver Surfer run?
Let's say 6.
Null's probably going to get out of wherever he is, and then everybody's going to have to deal with that,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's currently stuck on Clintar, that Venom world that like the Guardians went to.
So is that where Silver Surfer is right now?
Maybe, but no, I don't think so. Okay. I think that might just be like a doorway or something.
Oh, gotcha.
Which makes things complicated for reasons. But on the Clintar world, you find out that the creatures that Null made, which became kind of like Venom symbiotes that like paired with other things to kind of corrupt them and bring them to darkness, the Kingdom Hearts bullshit, which I thought was really good though. You find out that as they started interacting with civilization, they became changed and they realized what was going on, like Null's bad news bears.
Yeah.
So they trapped him inside the planet around each other. So they constantly are sacrificing themselves to keep him from getting out.
Okay.
So which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And Venom is like the linchpin of that. And right now, Carnage is being he's like a conduit to Null specifically. So that's why he's kind of extra powerful right now. He's got a cool new look.
Yeah.
Also, there's a tease for the Miles Morales Absolute Carnage comic,
Yeah.
that crossover. And Carnage has a suit that looks like Miles' suit when it's mainly black with the red trim on it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
But overall, like the art and the viewpoint of Silver Surfer and how he views Galactus in those moments when he's eating like a planet, he looks way more demonic and kind of like Galactus is cool, but he is eating planets.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep picking it up. I'm interested in it. The ending didn't quite excite me because I'm not on board with Null yet.
If Venom pops up on like a Hoopla or something, maybe check it out. Maybe check out like first volume. It's pretty cool.
But Danny M said Null had not been on Earth. He possessed a symbiote dragon, and Venom but he was not there physically.
Yeah.
He also asked if I read Road of Bones. It's going for a third printing. I did read it, and it is interesting, but I don't know if it interests me enough to keep shelling out money for it.
But Danny M, let us know what you think about
Yes,
it. I'll read those
please.
reviews in a second, but I wanted to say I also picked up Venom, which is the end. I didn't. You remember when I said I was like, oh, it's doing War of Realms stuff. I should not pick this up. It's on a subscription thing.
Yeah.
And again, I forgot to.
Yeah.
So it was not bad.
Yeah.
It was a fun story, and they're teasing Eddie going with his son to go raise him somewhere. So I'm trying to figure out what Venom is in.
They always give him a kid.
They
man.
always
there
do.
was like, because Venom and then the Moon Knight last run. Oh, you got a secret kid.
Classic. But the kid thinks he's his brother. But it's
use protection.
It's
all right.
Out of most characters, Eddie didn't seem like a person who would do that. But you do get a tease for what's to come. I don't know what Venom is in Savage Avengers. I don't know who that is. I don't know what Venom is in War of the Realms right now because it's not Eddie. It's clearly not Eddie. I think it's just the suit walking around by itself.
Because Eddie doesn't have the suit right now?
Yeah, he doesn't have the suit.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, he was using a wishing rock that made Venom. Yep, and moving on, Invaders.
Okay.
Basically Namor's doing the whole pitch is like, I know how to save the world, blah blah blah. But the way Chip Zdarsky is showing it is crazy. It's a chemical attack on a small town, and all of a sudden they're all like, they can't breathe, and they start going blue, and you're like, oh, they're suffocating. It's like, no, they're turning into Atlanteans, and oh my god, it was so cool. And then he floods the town. And so they're all saved, except for a few Atlanteans that happen to die because they sacrificed themselves for this experiment. But Namor's like, no, we can solve like global warming, food. We can do this and this and this, easy.
Just as long as everybody's Atlanteans.
Which doesn't seem like the worst trade-off. They're stronger. They breathe underwater and on land if they want to. It's not great.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it's like,
a chemical attack.
I know how to save the world. We just all need to be the same race.
There you go. Oh, good point. There you go. Classic. Oh, now I know how this story's going to end because they're doing the flashbacks to like Nazis and stuff in World War II when they're fighting. It's like, maybe you're the Nazi this time. Immortal Hulk. It's so scary. Betty shows up. She's like this red harpy where it's like a bird type Hulk creature. And she's not doing okay.
Okay, all right.
Is not doing okay. And the Abomination has like the hand face. And it secretes like an acid that the Hulk can't heal from, so he loses all of his limbs and his eyes are burnt out. And Harpy shows up. You're like, oh, here we go, teaming up against Abomination. She tears into his chest and starts eating his heart, but it looks like this like demonic, long-necked, like you can just see in the darkness.
She's eating Abomination's heart?
Oh no,
the Hulk's
heart. And you're like, and Hulk's just he's right now he's been speaking very clearly, and he's just saying like Hulk hurt, and like and he's very scared and sad, and you're like, yeah, these things are genuine, like, demonic. This is end times shit right now. This is so scary. And I love it. It's so... there's this weird, not empowerment story for Betty. But you can just see how deep down this, like, carnal rage towards Bruce because of how tangentially her life has been ruined because she's been near him. And, there's a lot of things to look at, but... her proximity has led to bad things happening.
Who writes this?
Al Ewing.
Okay.
He's a fucking pro. Because he's a fucking pro. That one's a good one. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I picked it up, but I haven't read it yet. Prowler. Interesting.
It's very. This is the very beginning of it. This is sentence one of the story.
Nice.
But a very cute story of you do get a young Peter when he's with Uncle Ben and Aunt May being raised. Spider-Man Life Story is...
Yeah, that ship sails for me. I'm going to wait till the collection and then I want to read it.
So they did a Clone Saga thing back like 2 issues ago in the 70s. Okay. And now they finished it with an end to...
In the 90s, because that's what happened, is they introduced that story
in the 70s.
And, then in the 90s, that's when the Clone Saga happened.
They did it in a...
Great cover, by the way, because it's him on a building looking at his reflection with it. It's a really good cover.
Did you see the 90s cover, though? It's... Oh, let me see if I can find it.
By the way, did you read in Silver Surfer Black? Did you read the little Donny Cates afterward?
No, I didn't read those. Ew, no pictures.
Okay.
No, I don't want to read those. Why? Did he have something?
Yeah, he was talking about he finished the issue and then he saw Stan Lee died, and Stan Lee's said a few times that Silver Surfer is his favorite character, and so he went back and rewrote the whole thing because he's like, this is the first Silver Surfer story without Stan Lee. I've got to make it the best thing ever.
Let me see if I can find. Come on.
I recommend don't be like Sam. When you can, read those little things afterwards because sometimes they can be really
The resolution's not great, but it's a metallic
great.
cover and it's full 90s.
I
They've
love
done
it.
the full genre type covers for
Yeah.
each of these. But I should go read those. But I wanted to stay with this. It fully does the Clone Saga in its own continuity.
Uh-huh.
And man, it's a very good look at if Spider-Man was a person, his life's not good. It's not. It's if your life, which is very admirable, that with great power comes great responsibility, but you also have responsibility to the people in your life. So it's like, what is the great responsibility to that? And sometimes people fall by the wayside. It's not depression porn. It's not Spider-Man being a dick ever. It's just that sometimes other people need your attention. If you can't give it to them, maybe they should take care of themselves and go elsewhere.
Yeah.
The Ben Reilly thing, man, they do the whole goddamn thing.
I love it. How many more issues does it have? 2? 1.
They're 90s. They're doing the aughts, and then they're doing the 2010s.
Nice.
And I think that's when it's the end. Also, Champions, just a fun book.
Nice.
Overall, really fun book. And you know the other Power Man? You know there's another one?
The kid one.
The kid one. Yeah. This was the coolest thing he's been a part of.
Cool.
Because he pulls from, his power is from culture and history. Anyways,
No, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird.
He gets, but it's from anyone's culture or history. Appropriation, which and I have no idea. It's like I have any fucking clue. But he gets stabbed by an evil Valkyrie, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
They're like Valkyrie that turn and work for Hela. Fun.
Nice.
And he gets stabbed through the chest.
Yeah.
So he's dead. But he's like, I can absorb the culture from this because it's thousands of years old. And he gets supersized and he punches stuff. And I'm like, all right. This works out. This works out.
All right.
Yeah, I can't be too mad at this. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's okay because these War of the Realm tie-ins overall have been very entertaining, and I can't really complain. And I think that's it for Marvel. So
There you go.
I did want to read from the Discord really quick, if I may.
Discord it up.
May I? A lot of people are excited. Cam Sense is posting about DC Millennium. Looks like what Brian Michael Bendis' introduction for the Legion of Superheroes.
Yep.
They're coming, and there's a tease for OMAC and Batman Beyond being a part of it in some way, which we know those times don't make sense, but that doesn't matter. They can have some fun with it.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because they're pitching it as, all the future stuff is connected, but they kind of did that in Electric Warriors. Electric Warriors bridged the gap between the Legion and the way. So that groundwork's been laid.
But which one do you think people might pick up more?
Also, and what are the chances that Brian Bendis read Electric Warriors and he pays attention to that?
Knows what it is. He probably knows what it is. Also worth shouting out because Danny M posted the Phantasm cover for Catman Batwoman. Then it's pretty cool.
I would read that team up.
Why not?
I want that now.
They have to do it.
Great. Catman and Batwoman. Yes, please.
By the way, the Mask of the Phantasm is on DC Universe, so
Yeah,
go watch
and I
it if you
recommend
wanna check
watching it. It's
out. Great. They're teasing a lot of Legion of Superheroes. Wally West is getting his own book called Flash Forward, which is a fun title.
Sure.
But he did murder people and cover it up. So
Yeah.
what are we going to do? What are we going to do about that?
Don't worry. I'm sure Scott Lobdell will be able to pull that one out for us and make it worthwhile.
And, okay, so let me go to Marvel really
we
quick.
lost Arsenal just because Wally West threw a fit.
Oh, yeah, he is dead. Immortal Hulk from Zachary. That's what his name is because we're friends on Pokemon Go. Is incredible. Big fan of Immortal Hulk. Feel bad for Betty and Abomination. I can't believe I didn't get that till right now. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Does everybody else know that? Okay, I'm slow. That's really good. Also, I think I'm getting some love here for Hunted, Amazing Spider-Man. We're both not picking that up, but that's from Zachary. He's a big fan of it. Danny M really likes Silver Surfer Black. A lot to catch up to see where the server has been, but it ties in well with Cosmic Books. The art is not my ideal favorite for a Kate's book, but the colors are great. Nice reveal at the end as well. Should have known. Yes, with the Donny Cates book, I should have known too. We should have known that from far off. But also, Danny M posted he picked up Event Leviathan, Detective Comics, Flash, Batman Who Laughs, Trustfall, X-Force, Silver Surfer Black, Major X, and Vader. And last one, Supermac mentioned they picked up Ironheart. Loving this series. Catwoman 12, Event Leviathan, Justice League Odyssey 10, Supergirl, Superman, Wonder Woman, Morning in America, and Outer Darkness. Did you pick up the first Outer Darkness?
Yes.
Which was the space,
for
but
Sue issues.
the space, but you sacrifice people to go to space.
No.
Was that which
It's
one was
not-
that one?
It's like Star Trek, but also demons.
But I might have a little right.
No.
Did he sacrifice stuff to make the engine go?
Oh, he did, yeah, because the engine's a demon. Because the engine's a demon.
I almost fell. Well, gang, Lobdell's doing some good stuff with Red Hood, in my opinion. Danny M. Well, you got to report back and let us know how that goes. Thank you so much for joining us for Let's Talk Comics, gang. We're shooting too much stuff today, so go ahead and stay tuned. Swamp Thing review coming out tomorrow on Only Stupid Answers. Bunch of reviews on might be awesome. We just did Toy Story 4. That's the 4th Toy Story, so don't miss out. Stay tuned and stay grooved. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
See you then.
Goodbye.
Bye.